Hello and welcome to this episode of Cracking the Rich Code, the podcast. I'm John Verico and am delighted to be your host. And as usual, I have another fantastic guest with us today. Leeanne Hudson has been, she's an executive leadership coach, a focal point business and executive coach. We're going to learn more about her throughout this conversation. She's published in Cracking the Rich Code, Volume 19, and we are going to jump right in and bring her in. Hi, Leeanne. How are you today?
Hi, John. It's a great day here in North Carolina.
Oh, what part of North Carolina are you in?
I am in Mooresville. It's just north of Charlotte and just off the lake there. It's beautiful.
I love it. I love it. It's a beautiful area there. It's kind of more it's less of the shore area.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
It's a great, beautiful part of the state. I love kind of the mountainy, and lake regions of this country. It just makes things, it's just so peaceful and nice to have trees and stuff around us too, right?
It is. And this time of year, the leaves are falling in the mountains. It is absolutely gorgeous. And every weekend you can go to a different part of the mountains. There's different trails. It just tells you which part of the mountains to go to. If you look it up online, you just hit a different part every week. So it's perfect.
I love it. That's what I love about Pennsylvania, where we moved to as well. Same thing, especially this time of the year. It's our favorite time of year, the fall, where you get all the beautiful colors and everything else, until it's time to rake the leaves. Then it's a little challenging.
That is definitely not fun. Yeah. Yeah.
Pros and cons to everything.
Absolutely.
So, Leeanne, you are a certified focal point business and executive coach.
That is correct.
So, in doing that, I know that some of the things that you focus on is helping leaders to develop the skills to foster self-managed teams.
Yeah.
What exactly is a self-managed team?
Yeah. So a self-managed team. So let's dive into that. So a self-managed team are a group of individuals that come together. They really anticipate issues in a facility. They solve problems early and they collaborate effectively. They're very efficient and they drive performance. They don't wait for a constant direction from their manager. And they really manage themselves. That's what they do. They allow leaders to focus on strategy, growth, and the future. So they're doing it themselves, not waiting for the leader to do it for them.
That's kind of an ideal situation, and especially in now you are really kind of focused in the manufacturing realm.
That's right. I've spent 30 years in manufacturing.
All right, so you were a zygote when you started.
Mm-hmm. Say that.
So now and it's interesting. I've been around the manufacturing, and I actually early in my career, I was an assembly line technician for production development. I was the electronics guy who would check and make sure the circuit boards were working properly when they came off the assembly line, which was an interesting challenge in that part of my life when I was working in electronics before I realized that was not the career field I wanted to stay in.
Okay.
But I understand what you're talking about, and having, like you said, a self-managed team, a team that understands if little things come up, they can just take care of it. They don't have to say "Mother, may I" to fix everything.
Yeah.
And I think we find that those kinds of environments really encourage people to be more involved, to take more ownership of the things that they're working on, and they take a little more pride in what they do. And that, I'll tell you, that is not just in the manufacturing world. That if you get that sort of somewhat of autonomy in your work, where you feel like you're trusted to do your job and to get things done, boy, you perform so much better.
Yeah, you absolutely do. You're hitting on so many of the key elements of what it is that keeps, leaders from being able to get out of the weeds as well, not just having the employees to feel trusted and to feel pride, but it allows those leaders to then stop firefighting and start leading. So it's a great circle here. Many leaders, they will, work in the business versus on the business. And it doesn't create a great atmosphere. But when they can flip that around, they get a huge return on investment. And oftentimes that's their time. It starts with time, but that time then builds on the return and leads to growth plateaus and performance. I said growth plateaus. It's growth that no longer plateaus. But it's performance, and then engagement increases, and there's bandwidth increases, and the culture starts to build. Yeah.
It's kind of like a V8 moment, like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Yeah, it makes so much sense. When you shine the light on this thing for leaders that you're working with, and you work as a coach, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
So I know that you do speaking engagements as well, but you also do one-on-ones?
I do. Yes. I do one-on-one executive coaching, and then I also do group coaching.
That's excellent. I love doing both of those things myself, and it's so rewarding to do. How did you get into this type of coaching?
Yeah, actually, so my coaching actually started 20 years ago when I was in a manufacturing facility, and this facility was struggling to perform. The performance rating at the facility was actually a 32% out of 100.
Ooh.
Yeah, and not great. The engagement rating was a 38 out of 100. And so those scores aren't great, but what was
I have to ask, without just quickly, what type of products were they working on? Because I'm not sure I want to buy anything that came out of a company that did that.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Many companies will find themselves in this place, and it doesn't matter what they actually produced at that time. What happens is, you have leaders who are working really hard, and they end up firefighting, and it creates this. So in this case, you had great leaders. They were just focused on solving problems themselves versus engaging the team to solve those problems and themselves. And so that was my start. The corporate team came down and said, listen, we're going to have to close this facility if you don't turn it around. And so they gave them 2 years to turn it around, and brought in a new facility manager, and that facility manager hired coaches. And so I was one of those coaches. And so there were 400 employees in that facility. They had 2 unions. And so we set out to create a high performance team development strategy. And so we started with people, process, and operations. And then we ran assessments first to determine what the culture was really like. And so, what that means is it command control? Is it coaching and empowerment? And usually you're going to find that it's somewhere within that spectrum. And so command control is okay think about if you're having a safety incident. You want command control at that time.
Right. Yes.
It has its time and its place, right? In this case, it was command control a lot of the time, and it's not going to work. And so we built an alignment is what we start with. And that's alignment around your vision, your mission, your strategy, and your goals. And then we dove into individual behaviors and those team dynamics. And so that allows you to strengthen your communication. And then we went into clarifying and optimized processes. And so that then we embed coaching to ensure that you're sustaining that culture that you're developing. And so then you embed reflective listening, feedback, and conflict resolution. And that right there, you're creating self-managed teams. So that you raise engagement, you've improved performance, and ultimately we saved 400 jobs. Not only that, we raised that performance rating by 50 points. We raised the engagement score by 38 points. And we were able to win them a Malcolm Baldrige Quality Award. And
whoa, nice job.
National award, absolutely fantastic. And they were able to select one union rep for both unions to sit on the facility leadership team. Those are amazing changes and results. And so, it's incredible when you see individuals in a facility that start to say, what can I do versus that's not.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference. Mm-hmm. So that was my start.
That's huge. That's huge. Now, is that the example that you used in the book?
It is. That's my example. Yes.
Okay. And so, and for those of you who are just tuning in, we are speaking with Leeanne Hudson, who is a certified focal point business and executive coach. And she's just relayed how she was able to take an organization that was struggling with, like 30s in performance metrics in the 30s, engagement metrics in the 30 percentile range. And then she turned that around to getting that up into like the 80 percentile range. Just absolutely amazing turnaround, saving 400 jobs. If I've reiterated this properly, hopefully capture that, hopefully just enough nuggets so that people will go back and listen to this from the beginning so they capture all of that. But more importantly, they go and pick up a copy of Cracking the Rich Code Volume 19, where they can read about this and learn a little bit more. Now, Leanne's chapter in Volume 19 is Autonomous by Design, High Performance Team Development in Manufacturing. And Leeanne, you've got great experience in this stuff, and just this one example, and I'm sure you've got dozens, just this one example and the approach that you took for changing the dynamics of the way people interacted with each other in that manufacturing environment really makes such a huge difference. And I think we find that when we can help people interact better with each other in any environment, it really is applicable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it absolutely is. You can do this.
So is that why go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, this example was 400 people, but I've taken that and also done it with a much smaller team of 6 people. It's applicable to many different environments, not just a manufacturing environment. You can do it in a smaller entrepreneurial environment. You can do it just on a small team of a trade environment, or a financial team, a medical team. It's applicable all over.
Yeah. Before we had come on the air, we talked briefly about getting the leader out of the weeds.
Yeah.
The last thing you really need, and I know I hate this when I was working, having somebody kind of looking over my shoulder all the time. Yeah. We go through a hiring process of people.
Yes.
Right. We check out their skills and their background, and then we bring them on and then micromanage them. Why did you bother to find out if they had skills or not? Let people do their job, for crying out loud.
Right. Right. Exactly.
It creates a wonderful environment to do that.
Yeah.
And people will, when people feel better about what they do and they feel trusted, and they feel like they're part of the solution and all of that good stuff, they'll just give you so much better performance.
That's right. I mean, so leaders oftentimes they feel like they're measuring your value by what you achieve personally, and instead of measuring it by what their people can achieve without you, right? So we just need to.
Ooh, that's deep. I like that.
Yeah. And so it's in my book, it's called The Doer versus the Developer Shift. And so along with the high performance team development, it is you're working very hard with your leaders to kind of make this shift from doer to developer. So you're not just working with your frontline employees, you're working with your leaders to help them to make this shift.
That seems like such an appropriate topic to be in the Cracking the Rich Code book series. I know when you got first approached to be in this series, first of all, what was that like? Who approached you? What was that like to get invited into such a prestigious series?
Yeah, well, I was having a conversation with Jim. He and I just met on LinkedIn, and I was honored to be having this conversation with Jim. And it was more of just a networking discussion. We connected because we had some similarities in our backgrounds from a coaching perspective, and then I was sharing with him some information on high performance team development and my love of helping companies and individuals and that sort of thing. And I was also sharing some information about another program that I have on PQ Intelligence, which is also included in the chapter. And as I was talking, he said, "You need to be in this chapter." And I thought, me, little me, I don't know. I don't know that I should be there.
Isn't it funny how we react to that when he invites us into Cracking the Rich Code? Or like, really? Wait a minute. Let me check my bank account. Am I really in that category?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know about that. Anyway, I was very honored and touched. And it only took me a second to say, "Oh, yes." So yes, no, here we are.
And here we are. And so it seems, like I said, it seems like a perfect chapter to be in this, because when people can understand how to, and like we were talking about, get out of the weeds and get out of micromanaging and let people do their job, and then you can focus on the business stuff instead of the day-to-day firefighting, then you become a much more effective leader and your business can thrive.
Exactly. Yeah, you got it right.
That is, I mean, it like I said, it's like a V8 moment. It seems so logical.
It's much easier said than done.
Yeah. Well, so in this kind of like mindset changing for people who are in leadership positions, people learn their leadership styles from the leaders that they've seen and worked with in the past, right? So whatever behaviors we've experienced, we choose which behaviors to emulate and which behaviors we think are going to be effective, and that's how we go forward. So when you're trying to now bring this new way of thinking to folks, you and I are sitting here going, kind of, we know better, we've seen it from the outside kind of thing, we've slapped ourselves in the forehead. What kind of reaction do you get when you're trying to change this mindset for folks? So I know sometimes they get a little hard nosed.
Yeah. It's interesting because, to add about leaders they pick up what they've learned. And I think for so long, we're rewarded for what we have learned. And for so long, we've been fixing problems. And so leaders are rewarded for just that, not for developing others. And so they default to action instead of intention. And so
Yeah.
they become a bottleneck. And so self-managed teams do eliminate this bottleneck. So oftentimes, when I'm talking to prospective clients, uh, I do sometimes get that reaction of, well, I don't need this right now. I'm too busy right now. I'm too in the weeds. I'm too in the weeds to do this right now. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I do uh, tend to talk to them about the a couple of principles, and one of those is um, 3 eyes of the business leader. And it's really all about the 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 manager, the strategic leader, the executive, and then the manager,
Mm-hmm.
and then the technician. And when you line this
Right.
out and you're asking leaders about which one of these categories are you spending most of your time, and you lay out the tasks, you have them lay out the tasks that they're doing every day, more often than not, the majority of the tasks that they're doing end up falling in the technician level. They usually end
Yep.
up with about 85% of their tasks are in the technician level. So then you can say, okay, how much do you pay a technician? And it ends up being, well, your value is actually majority of, you're paying yourself maybe $18 to $20 an hour, whereas the majority of your value should be at strategic level. So if you're looking at revenue growth, strategy planning, things like that, the value that you should be spending on yourself is really not there. It's not equal. So when I look at it
That is
that
a
way,
brilliant way of looking at that.
yeah, if you look at all focal point coaches, they're going to look at it the same way. It's
Yeah.
you are able to, in a very short discussion, and when you lay it out that way, start to get that flip pretty quickly. So then you're in.
It's funny because when you put it into dollars and cents that
Mhm.
way, that really is the trigger. I've worked with a lot of folks and in the trades as well, and people who wind up in leadership positions and management positions have come up through the ranks,
Mhm.
and they still kind of think of themselves. They became leaders because they had seniority as a technician.
Yes.
And so they still, there's still that go-to technician
Yes.
mindset instead of that people grower
That's
mindset.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Very common. So what got them there doesn't get them here. They didn't necessarily learn how to be a leader and what is needed at that leadership level. They didn't learn what it is to strategize. They didn't learn how to be a visionary. And so they just don't know, and need to learn that. And so it gets us into that discussion, and then you start to get the mind shift, and then we can talk about what is this high performance team development, and how do I bring the middle managers and the frontline employees along into this cultural shift.
That's a big shift
Yeah.
too. That's a big shift. Hey, we're having a fantastic
Mhm.
conversation with Leeanne Hudson. You want to check her out at leannehudson.focalpointcoaching.com. By the way, Leeanne is spelled with 2 E's and 2 N's with an E on the end. I say that because I know it's on the screen if you're watching the YouTube version, but if you're only listening to this on audio, you want to make sure you get it right. And I know in my email to you, I left out one of the E's, and I didn't mean to do that. See, I'm calling myself out on that one. But yes, it's leannehudson.focalpointcoaching.com. That's her website. Definitely check her out. And also, great to contact her and connect with her on LinkedIn. She said that is one of the best ways to get in touch with her. So you want to do that, and you want to pick up a copy of Cracking the Rich Code, Volume 19. Leeanne, we've had a great conversation so far, and we're already almost out of time. Wow. See how quickly this thing goes. I know. It's been insane. So let's just, kind of wrap this up. What are some key points that you want people to take away from not only your chapter that you provided in Cracking the Rich Code, but also from our conversation? What do you want people to come away with?
Sure. So, John, I think, what people can take away here is that self-managed teams don't happen by chance. They're built by design. Coaching unlocks accountability, resilience, and initiative. So contact me, Leeanne Hudson, Leeanne, to get your high performance team cultural development. It's a competitive advantage and it secures your legacy. So, John, I want to put an offer out there. So, my way of giving thanks, because Thanksgiving is just around the corner. So
yeah. So just for context, this episode is being published the week of Thanksgiving 2025. It'll be out. We're publishing it on Monday, the 24th of November 2025. So just giving kind of a time reference for folks. There you go.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So great. So my way of giving thanks then to all the listeners here is that for the first 2 people who contact me, I'm going to give a free copy of the book and 10% off their high performance team development implementation. So my calendar link to book a meeting with me can be found on my website at leannehudson.focalpointcoaching.com. I know that you've been running that on the bottom here of our podcast. So thank you for that. So don't miss out on that. And again, my name is spelled Leeanne. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. And thanks all.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And what a gracious offer, and so nice of you to do that. I need to get a copy of Volume 19. I'm not going to intercede on this, and we'll make sure people get their copy. I will actually pay for a copy, but I want you to sign it for me.
Oh, I'd love to.
But anyway, this has been a lovely conversation. Leeanne, you are very enthusiastic about what you do. You put a lot of energy into it and really a lot of brain power. And I think people can learn a lot from what you have, what you've put forth out there. But I want to end this on a really kind of a personal note. And what is something that, people don't know about you, but would help people understand who you are and why you do what you do? I know I ended it with a tough question.
That is a tough one. Well, so, my mother was a psych nurse, and I lost her just a few years ago.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. I don't mean to bring this down, this energy, but
no.
But it is good. It's good all over. And one of the drivers of me really finally sort of coming out of manufacturing and really finally starting my own coaching practice is her. She is my inspiration. And that is because I watched her for so many years give people this space to be themselves, be their authentic selves, and they could trust her. And I think she did this back in the 80s and the 90s when it wasn't quite as safe of a time to really honor mental health and whatnot. and it was before coaching was really quite as well known. And so I really am proud to be able to now be a coach and to honor her in doing that as well. And so the fact that I've now been coaching for 20 years and I can honor her in doing that as well. I'm just proud to be able to do it. So I'd like people to know that.
That is wonderful, and I know your mom's probably proud of you as well. And wonderful to carry on her tradition of helping people to realize their own better selves.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Leeanne, thank you so much for your time. This has been a fantastic conversation. Everybody, check this episode out from the beginning. Connect with Leeanne on LinkedIn and visit her website, leeannehudson.focalpointcoaching.com, and pick up a copy of Cracking the Rich Code Volume 19 and read her chapter, which is called Autonomous by Design, High Performance Team Development in Manufacturing. Leeanne, thank you so much again. Have a wonderful day. And everybody, tune in for other episodes of this, but keep your eyes out for this one in particular. Thank you so much. Have a great day.